She Slayers, and welcome to another episode of She Slays the Day podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauryn Brunswick.
And I am your co-host, not Dr. Kirby Brunswick.
And we're like recording. This is not our first time recording together, but it kind of feels like it because we're doing new things with the podcast.
You got to love right before you hit record when you're arguing about something and it's like, you ready? Fine. All right, go.
Well, it's the setup. So this is the first time that I can see your face in front of me, but then also next to me. I
suppose
weird.
You haven't even announced why we're arguing about setup.
Mm-mm.
I mean, feels like we should.
Well, is it really announcement worthy?
I think so. I
think it's more of an explanation now versus an announcement.
Here's the announcement. Coming soon, She Slays the Day podcast will be able to be found on YouTube as well, where you'll be able to see the actual guests. And so in preparation for that, thinking that this might go on YouTube, we are recording this as well. And we don't have our setup. Eventually we'll have a multicam setup, so it'll jump back and forth between us, or you can see both of us sitting in fancy chairs. But right now we're sitting at a desk
right before
recording on Zoom.
Right before this, Kirby's like, early days. And I'm like, yep, early days, episode 220, like you will, or whatever episode this ends up.
Early days of YouTube.
Well, what's really funny though, is if you watched us right now, if you are viewing this on YouTube, you can see why don't you guys sit in those really cute rattan chairs behind you? Those are fake.
It's not real. It's part of the metaverse.
It's not real. Looks like we have this beautiful, She Slays the Day neon sign.
We are sitting at my standing desk in my office with papers all around us. And yeah, it's not pretty.
It's not pretty. One of these days, the She Slays money is going to build me a recording studio, just like Jenna Kutcher. It'll be so freaking fancy.
We'll just build an extra outbuilding like Tony did.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that.
He's currently going to be listening and sending me you poor person, just harassing me messages.
We could build a second floor above the garage, and then that could be my office and recording studio.
No, because the problem is your office and recording studio. Your office is disgusting. We could kick you out of here and put you in the garage, and I could take over this as a recording studio.
That works for fall and spring, but not so much for summer or winter, as the garage is uninsulated.
Damn episode to record. Okay, should we talk about another failed date night?
I suppose.
I think all we talk about are failed date nights.
At least we're trying. We don't give up.
So the last failed date night, do you remember what that was?
Line dancing?
No, God, we've had so many failed dates. Do we do actually good dates? No, there was another one where I took you to church.
Oh, yeah. Did we talk about that in the podcast already?
Did.
Okay.
We did. We
had a good date night. The other night we went to our friend's house and got basically a private concert from famous, or not famous, but Chris Cruzy's had top 50 country songs.
Yep.
And it was just in our friend's backyard, and they sang to us and played the fiddle better than anyone I've ever seen. There was only 20 people.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. That was a good date
You're
night.
right. We just don't brag.
Well, now I did.
Now you did. All right. So anyways, our failed date night. So Thursday night, and we're yeah, let's go golfing. Our kids are at an age now where we're we can just leave them home. We don't even have to get a babysitter. And then it was just sweltering hot. The feels was 108. Did you know that?
I did not, but it definitely felt like it.
And so I'm I don't know that I want to go golfing. And then Kirby was you're a wuss. And then I said, well, does it change anything that it's supposed to thunderstorm from 5 to 9 p.m.? And that did change things.
I have golf rain gear, but you're still a wuss.
So, leaving the kids home is one thing. Leaving the kids home while potential tornado sirens could go off. So we're all right, well, we're not even going to go out to dinner because I don't want to traumatize them. So we're we'll just play. I said, let's just have a charcuterie board and champagne, and we can play golf on the Xbox. Now, this sounds like a great night for you.
It does. I was very excited when you suggested it.
But I was a Nintendo kid.
Yes.
Just not the Nintendo 64, not Super Nintendo even really, just
basic ass Nintendo.
And so that is how I know how to work a controller. And so like these Xbox controllers, I just never really got the hang of
There's
them.
like the left stick and then the 4-directional pad, and then your right hand is the buttons and a right stick.
Yeah.
She's trying to swing. You were good at driving.
Yep.
Did that well. Just everything
honestly,
beyond that.
It's kind of parallels my actual golf game because so you're supposed to like look at the arrows and like line up where you're aiming and all this stuff. And I would just go because it would like pick your like, okay, you're now chipping and like you're only supposed to do a 75% swing. So like I would just do it and not change the aim or anything. And Kirb's like, well, why are you going so fast? Like you're not. And I'm like, just hit the ball. So also very parallel to my golf game of like, why did it go over there? Well, I was aiming over there by accident.
Because I didn't read the green at all and see that it's a huge slope right to left.
Well, you have to be good enough. Like I feel like you look stupid if you're like, oh yeah, which way is the wind going? And the grass is going this way. And it rained today. So it's going to go slower and blah, 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 and not roll as much. And then you just shank it. And you're like, well, good thing I analyzed all that. So you're better off. See, this is Enneagram 3. I don't want to be judged for trying and failing. I just want to look like a natural talent. So if I don't look like I'm putting effort into it and it goes well, then people are like, oh my gosh, she's so good. And then if I shank it, I'm like, yeah, well, I didn't really try because I don't really care.
So in the end, we played golf for about 20 minutes. And then Lauryn said, and I looked at her and I said, we can stop this anytime if you hate this so much. And she just goes, I hate this so much. Let's go.
And then we stopped. And then it was, yeah. So we'll try again tonight. Going golfing.
Oh, actually going golfing. I was going to say, you're going to play more video games?
No. I'll try again in 2 years. Okay. What other, do we have any updates or anything?
Other than the YouTube thing, I don't think there's a ton going on in our lives that's changing or doing much. We're just summering it up and staying busy.
So then let's talk about today's topic and then we'll pray.
Okay.
Just don't forget to pray. Because I get thrown. It's been a while since I've done.
Oh yeah, because our intros go straight into our episodes. So
I know. So just don't forget the prayer. The other day I did the bio after the prayer. And I was like, oh.
That's fine. I don't think people care.
Do you say oh?
Maybe without thinking. I know it's such a Wisconsin thing.
I think I'm an anomaly that I say ope and y'all. Like legit.
Yeah.
I say them both.
You have Southern friends though, so that helps. I feel like when I hang out with my buddy Eric after like a day, I slip a y'all in there because he says it because he's from North Carolina.
Okay, so today's topic, we are covering 10 questions to ask yourself, not us, and we're not asking you. You have to ask yourself before you launch a course. Now, I feel like we just continue to take the listeners on our journey. Yeah. And it's like, well, this is what's going on in my life. So this is what you're going to hear about. But I still have not done coffee enemas. But then again, I haven't officially had someone on only talking about coffee enemas. Like it's been referenced a couple times in episodes. So like, for instance, I had someone on about parasites.
Your ADHD brain made that jump in a way that like, I thought you were talking about, we're teaching you about systems because we do systems. I thought you were talking about like business and investing and marriage. And then you just went right to coffee enemas.
Yes. I was saying we cover all of these topics and because they're going on in our life, but then my brain jumped over all of that and went to, but there is a topic I've talked about on the podcast that I haven't actually done in real life. And that is coffee enemas.
Sounds like a date night.
Oh God. Oh my God. Anyways, but I haven't officially had someone on the podcast to talk only about coffee enemas and like, because I can get sold really easily on things.
Oh, really? I know that.
I don't know if you know this, that I can, if I have somebody who tells me all of the things.
That's why it's nerve-wracking when you go to conferences by yourself and then come home and be like, we're going to buy a timeshare or something.
Oh,
like, come on.
It really is a thing. At least I know this about myself now and you know this about me. So, we try and not have it happen. And then sometimes it just happens and you'll be like, what did you buy? What did you do? I'm like, okay, you might be mad, but don't be. It's gonna be good.
Sure.
Thanks.
Should we just pray now since we're already kind of leaning into it? Okay. Take a deep breath. Get centered wherever you are. Feel your butt touching the seat. Dear God, thank you for this lovely woman who I get to share life with. And thank you that we get to go on these adventures in life and relationships and raising kids and business. Thank you for the newest one that we've done, which is launching a course. And thank you for all the headaches and the trouble along the way that seem so stressful in the moment, but that now give us comfort and knowledge as we move forward and as we can share our experience and what we've learned with other people. Please be with anyone who is struggling in their business or trying to figure out their passion or how to get their message out. Help us always to remember that whatever we do is hopefully us being a conduit of your message of love and helping. And that we are just sharing that with everyone. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay. So back to what I was saying. So we're talking about courses. Coffee enemas. So if you are an expert on coffee enemas and you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please send your emails in because I'm getting closer. So we got polar plunge. Is that what it's called? No,
cold plunge.
Cold plunge. We're doing that. This winter, I need to find a company that we like to install an infrared sauna in our murder room in the basement. Now we're going to need to find a new place for the murders to happen, but that's okay. And then coffee enemas is going to come after that.
I mean, we're doing the parasite cleanse right now. We've done keto. We've done a bunch of different cleanses. We did like that weird
intermittent fasting.
Yep, do that.
But yeah, no,
meditation,
I think the cold
working
plunge,
out,
the infrared sauna, and the coffee enemas are like. Yeah.
Are
what's
you
hyperbaric chamber?
Yeah, like increases the percentage of oxygen in your blood, I think.
Is it uncomfortable?
I don't think so. I want to do sensory deprivation tank. Never tried one. I'm not saying like buy one. I'm saying I want to go to a place and do it.
Okay. Anyways, so stop getting my ADHD over. So we're talking about courses. The reason we're talking about courses is because we've done multiple courses, but that's not the real reason. The real reason is I feel like there's been a lot of talk on certain Facebook pages lately about side hustles. And some people are looking for side hustles. Some people are looking to leave the professional together. And I think that a course could be helpful for some people. I think what happens is people see other people because like by nature, you're seeing a course because the way you market a course is virtually.
Yeah.
So like, it may seem like everybody's launching a course. Well, all the people who aren't launching a course aren't posting, hey, I'm not launching a course. Hey, it's me.
I mean, you can, it'd be weird. Hey guys, I'm not joining the army. I am not becoming an astronaut and I'm not planting a garden. Just wanted you to know.
Yep. Chickens. That is another thing that could be in our future as far as like not in town.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, I grew up with chickens. I wasn't a huge fan.
Like my firm fresh eggs.
I was going to say
and sourdough. Sourdough is another hippie thing. So
if you're willing to take care of them, we can get chickens. But I also know that that's bullshit because you said you were going to take care of the dog. And now I do that.
What do you have to do to take care of chickens?
Like you're going to go get the eggs every morning. You're going to feed them.
I'm not going to get the eggs. I'm going to say, I want eggs. Can you go get me eggs?
Exactly. Like depending on if they're in a coop, you have to go feed them or you have to like maintain the fence or shift the fence around if they're free range. So like there's like a chicken tractor thing that's basically like a fence that rotates onto different grass patches that they can eat off of, but you have to move that around and then you have chicken poop all over your yard.
Do you follow Courtney Gowan at all on Instagram?
I think so, but Instagram shows me so few people.
So she's like in Dallas, like, I don't know, maybe it's a suburb, but it's still like very much in town. And she has a chicken coop in her backyard and something was killing it. And so she put a trap out there and found caught a possum.
Oh my God.
And it was like, so now what am I supposed to do with this?
I know what we did on the farm when I was a kid. It involved shooting a possum and throwing it in a field.
All right. But... So, gosh, back. Chickens.
Course. you see people posting.
Yeah.
You don't see people
you
not
don't
posting.
see people posting. God. Don't worry. We have these 10 questions written down and we are
Thank
going
God.
to get through them. So you might want to start a course. Maybe you don't. I don't know. These are questions that you need to ask yourself beforehand to really make sure that you do this justice and appropriately, because you can really mess up a lot of things in your life by diverting like your attention. You can put a lot of energy and money into something and it could not be fruitful. So for anybody who's like, do I want a side hustle? Do I need more money? This is for you.
Mhm.
So question number 1 is, what is your goal with starting a course? So, I think if you're only, I would just say like money, I think is probably the initial thing that people would go, I want to make money.
Yeah. And even within the question of I want to make money is how much of like, do you need this to be like, I need some money for, I want to travel once a year. So like my goal is to make like $1,500 or something versus like, I need this to be a second full income of like, this is going to be my whole persona now. And I'm going to be the course lady and I'm going to pull back from working at my clinic. Or I'm an associate and I'm going to quit my job because I want the freedom to work virtually. Like that's a whole different level than, and I think this is possibly a good time to talk about the distinction too, of like, there's a couple different ways of thinking about this. And it ties into a later question about audience, but like, is there the course for you to talk to other chiropractors, or is it to like boost your clinic? So it can be like a side hustle, or it can be a boon to your clinic.
This course to attract people to start as chiropractic patients. Yep. So one of the goals that, so like reasons that we started a course was I wanted to be able to go and, well, there's so many different reasons. We don't have time to get into all the reasons. I would say the not the financial freedom as much as a source of income that was not tethered to brick and mortar.
Yep.
This continued the pursuit for more freedom in my career.
Yep.
Our career.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, everything we've done to this point has been, other than like the podcast, which this is, I would argue, a branch of the podcast, is the only way to grow, the only way to make more money was to, one, incur more debt, and two, to have physical limitations of like, if we were killing it at the clinic, if we keep growing, we then have to build more building or attract more patients to physically come to a space. Whereas a course, could be an evergreen course or something that you could sell to anyone in the world, and the sky's the limit there.
So what I would say, and I talk a little bit about this with my, in my conversation that I have with Steph Wigner, which will come out, like, I think it either already came out or it comes out next week. I don't know. Anyways, but where anytime if someone is like, I am failing financially, I need to do something else. Like I need something to help raise more money in my life. If you're at that scenario, I would say time and energy is likely best put back into your clinic. Like that is an area where I don't know everybody's scenario, but I do not recommend, if you're like, my clinic is failing, quick, I need more money, let me do a course. Like,
yeah, let me build something from the ground up with no, prior knowledge or experience. I think kind of the sweet spot is for the person who is already creating a lot of content and going like, I'm doing this, I like doing this, I have people who want to hear what I have to say.
You're jumping.
It all comes back in, but like, I'm making no money from this. So like, that's kind of the sweet spot of like, the goal is to monetize something that I'm already doing well.
Because you have a passion for it.
Yeah.
I would say that yes, more money is okay as a goal. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think you just need to the point of the question is you need to understand what you're striving for, because it will drive your answers to a lot of the rest of these. So if it does need to be a ton of money, then a lot of the answers to the rest of these are going to change versus like, yeah, I just want to put something out there and see if people want to pay for what I have to say.
Oh, and like, again, with some of these questions, if your only drive is like, I just need to pay some bills, like as you start looking at like what topic should you choose, what will people pay, like you're going to find that's a bad filter to put a lot of things through. So likely this should be something that, as we get to, some of these questions, this should be something that pours out of you easier.
Yeah.
Because honestly, what's the app that like people pay to look at your feet?
Feet Finder.
That might pay better than some courses. That might be, you
There
might
you
be more
go.
successful on there. So like, hey, okay. So question number 2 is, do you have the time and energy for this?
And that gets back to, when you were talking about someone whose clinic is struggling or whatever, like if you go like, I'm going to branch out and make money over here, know that a lot of this is, well, it can be fairly simple. It can also be very complicated and expensive. And if you're diverting energy away from something that you need like your clinic, it's probably not going to be anytime soon before
your clinic's not in a good place now. Diverting time and energy towards something else, like you might look back at your clinic and go, oh shit, it could get worse. So definitely, not that your clinic needs to be in a perfect place, but like it should be stable. Your marriage should be stable.
Mhm.
Your mental health should be stable. Could you be striving for more? Of course. But like the time and energy component is a big one, because I think people throw around the term side hustle and passive income interchangeably,
And
and
they are not the
holy
same
shit, they're
thing.
different.
No.
Different terms.
Passive income is more like you give $10,000 to a real estate syndicate and they take care of everything, and then you get a dividend check every quarter. Side hustle is hustle. So like that is part of it, is depending on your level of technology expertise, content creation, advertising, sales expertise, you may have to learn a bunch of new skills, because there's one part of creating the course. There's another part of marketing the course. There's another part of understanding the
Running the
technology
course.
behind how you get this course sold. And then the follow-up, depending on what type of course, if you're doing something where it's weekly calls and you have accountability calls with people, like now you've just taken on a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I know that some of my best friends within chiropractic that did courses, have very successful courses, were checking in for multiple months with me of like, and they knew that like, yeah, launching wasn't necessarily when they checked in.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like, your course starts. How are your adrenals? Because they know you probably just burnt the shit out of them in making and marketing and selling this thing. And now you have to run it. Like, how are you? And so like, those were some of, I talked to my therapist and you about how like, I joke that affirmations is not a thing for me,
Mm-hmm.
but like people seeing the effort and work and being like, how are you? You're doing really hard work and I'm proud of you. I'm like, thank you. So, do you have the time and energy is question number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, She Slayers, are you looking to get your team off the phone and streamline your front desk so you can spend more time doing what you love? Sked has exactly what you're looking for. They will automate all your appointment reminders, missed appointment reminders, reactivation campaigns, allow you to have two-way texting with your patients. Plus, they have a very cool app that your patients are going to love. The app alone saves chiropractors tons of time because it gives patients the flexibility to move appointments to a time that works better for them. Don't worry, you won't lose control of your schedule because you'll have access to all the parameters that keep you still in control. Plus, there's overbook protection, so your schedule won't get out of hand. Sked was created by a chiropractor for chiropractors, so you can rest assured that you're getting the absolute best system for your office. Dr. Eric Kowalski is committed to the chiropractic mission, and he works closely with his developers to always be innovative so that we have the best system available. If you're hesitant to switch to Sked because you already use something else, let me tell you, it's worth every penny. Plus, mention that you heard about it on my podcast and they'll give you a discount. Seriously, it is a game changer. Don't wait. Hey, She Slayers. So a question I get asked a lot is, what have I found that works best to get new patients in the door? Well, My friends over at the Pediatric Experience have put together the ultimate branding and marketing playbook that does a comprehensive job to answer this question, and they even include a free video training that comes with it. This free guide reveals the secrets to a kick-ass, wildly effective marketing system that consistently brings in over 20 new patients every single month. And guess what? It's all organic. Picture this, a proven approach that will grow your patient numbers while you focus on doing what you do best, providing exceptional chiropractic care. Inside the playbook, you'll discover the 5 core elements of this powerful marketing system. From crafting a compelling brand to implementing strategic marketing strategies, they've got you covered. If you know PX, Dr. Tony and that crew, they practice exactly what they preach, and it's no different in the latest PDF Plus training they've put together for you. So if you're ready to attract more patients through the door, grow your practice, and dominate your local market, this guide is a must-have for you. So check out the link in the description to get your free download and video training.
Third question, do you have the trusted following for this?
So this is what I kind of like, Kirby, you're jumping ahead. So this doesn't necessarily mean, do you have 20,000 followers on Instagram?
No.
This is, have you been sharing content with someone repeatedly for a while?
Yeah.
So this could be, do you frequently spend 20 minutes with moms with lactation help in your clinic, and you're not getting paid, or you are getting paid, but you just like love this and you can't.
You want to spread it outside of your clinic to have anyone in the world be able to buy it. Like, but you have that knowledge, and even if you have that knowledge, but right now you haven't been sharing that on social media, you don't have people who know you as the expert, you can still do it, but then you're going to be paying for ads and hustling to get on podcasts. And if you're not known, that's not an easy thing. So what the experts say, when we go to conferences and talk about how to market things, a lot of times you want to start gathering those emails or get your Instagram following up, and you're just giving away content, and people trust you and they know you and they love you, so that when you finally do go like, here, I have this thing for you, would you like to buy it? They go, holy crap, I trust them already. I can't imagine how great it is, for the stuff they're giving away free. What is this thing that they need some money for?
And we'll kind of get around to this towards later with one of the questions about like, how do you gather your data? So for this time period, you are not gatekeeping anything. You are not. So like, if you're like, okay, I'm going to do a course on breastfeeding, so I want to start putting out a bunch of information to the internet to get people on breastfeeding, but I know that this is going to be like a little nugget that I want to save for the course. Like, nope, all of it should go, like, give your best stuff. Do not gatekeep anything. And then along with that, are you starting to take people from a social media platform to email? This is a really big thing that, we talk about, experts talk about all the time, of like, you're on rented space when you're on things like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. And
especially as chiropractors, because you might mostly be talking about lactation, but then one time you talk about vaccines or something and you say something the wrong way, or the climate changes and you've just gotten deplatformed. And if you haven't gathered their emails, like, how do you get a hold of them? How do you tell them that you have a course coming up?
Yeah. So getting people on to your email list can be easy. I mean, that's a whole another podcast.
Freebie talk.
Yeah, that's a whole like another thing about like all the different ways that you can get people onto email. If your audience is going to be more your patients, then maybe you have their emails already, type of thing. But you just need to look at like, do you not just have a following? Do you have an engaged following? Like, if you went viral and collected 15,000 followers over like 3 weeks of going viral, but
yeah, depending on the video, like you talked with a previous
what
guest
was the
of
video
like,
on?
is it you doing a backflip off a boat? Like, and now you want to sell them lactation advice? Like,
right.
That doesn't quite translate.
Right. So, if you went viral, it's kind of this is why anytime I talk about social media and posting stuff, I ask like, does it pass the oh shit, I went viral question or test, which
Mhm.
is if you post this and you wake up tomorrow and you've gathered 10,000 followers overnight and they are DMing you, calling your office, whatever it is it on a subject that you want to keep talking about? So it doesn't mean that you can't post backflips off a boat, but like when you're starting to get in the mind space of, I might launch a course, I'm now not just gathering followers, I'm gathering trusted potential future customers.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference. And so then the content you put out there is different because it is more curated. I was talking to a company just yesterday about potentially working together. And, it's very interesting being on this side as like a content creator. And there is so much that goes into
Mm.
curating your experience with me on Instagram. Like I am very protective that it's not a walking billboard. I get propositioned. Is
I
that a
mean,
word?
propositioned is usually in association with some lascivious acts, but
Well, you can tell me
but it can
whether
be a business.
so I get propositioned about like 5 or 6 times a month asking like, "Hey, can I pay you to post this on your stories?" Like, and so like I could just proposition myself and make it 500-600 bucks a month. Like, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the thing. But like I know that when I do that, engagement goes down,
Yep.
trust goes down with my like the relationship that I built. So, when you are transitioning your social media or your email list or whatever, when you start turning it from followers into a curated audience of customers, there's just difference. So
Well, and this ties into the next question. They could
yep,
have come in either order. So the next one is, who's your audience?
yep,
So like that curation and what you're posting and thinking about like who you actually ultimately want to sell this to. So if you are wanting to sell lactation advice to moms, but right now your Instagram and your TikToks are all about a day in the life of a chiropractor and all of your followers are fellow chiropractors, you may either need to pivot or start a new account for whatever you're going to be doing, and posting stuff that is advice for lactation stuff for moms, because your current following, well, you have it, well, you maybe even have some emails of some of the people, like they're not the ones buying it unless they can be affiliates for you. If you have a bunch of other chiropractor friends and they want to pass this information on and they don't have it themselves, then that could be a vector for you to sell, but it's not your audience.
yeah, I love that. And what I would say, just my head, is like if currently your audience is a bunch of chiropractors, but you know that you want this to be direct to, so B2B versus B2C. Okay. So B2B is you're a professional, they're professionals who follow you. You're creating a course to teach other chiropractors how to coach their patients more on lactation. That would be B2B.
Yep.
So if you currently have a following, but it's B2B, and you want to be B2C, which is business to consumer. God, I sound so smart.
So
Like I
fancy.
didn't
Who
even
here has a business degree?
I
Is it
didn't
me or
even
you?
go to business school, y'all. So fancy. So business to consumer, if you're like, well, the audience, I want to go directly to consumer, um, you know, oh gosh, this is such a like in the weeds. So I promise I won't stay here long. I won't get my shoes muddy, but like, ooh, that should be like a thing for like
Like an
in the
idiom?
weeds. Yeah. Like, all right, I promise I won't get my shoes muddy here.
I, yeah, I like it.
Right?
We're so
Okay.
excited about
We're
this.
starting it. Okay. Anyways,
So excited.
so excited. What was I talking about though?
You were talking about B2B versus B2C.
Oh, okay. So you could just start post. You could keep that account, especially if it's not like huge. Like let's say you're an average chiropractic account or like chiropractor, not chiropractic clinic, and you have like 2,000 followers that are mostly chiropractors. You could just start producing the content for the consumer. And what would start to happen is the chiropractors who follow you would start sharing that content
Mm.
at a much higher rate because they also they likely have consumers and patients following them. So they're like, "Oh, great, you made a super educational reel. that I'm just going to share to educate my people on.
Mm.
And so then what happens is if it's really good, you might pick up some patients of theirs. So like you can just keep that. Did you follow that?
Yeah, I get it. Of like you're posting stuff that's valuable to their patients, so they're going to share it. And once their patients see it, hopefully they will follow
So
you.
like this is a conundrum that I have, and like I have to keep guardrails on for when I post content, because I know if I post content that is something another chiropractor would want their patient to see, like it's not behind the scenes, we're not laughing at
Mm.
anything, it's like make sure you get weekly adjustments, but it's like cute and funny, that reel is likely to be substantially more successful
Mhm.
than most of my other reels, because all the chiropractors that follow me are going to go, yes, I want my patients to see that, and they get shared. Now if I make too much of that content, what happens is I start getting followers from those reels that are not chiropractors, they're chiropractors patients that saw my reel on their account. And I don't want that. I don't want my account to have a bunch of lay people that, so then the people who do follow me really love when I post the like behind the scenes
Mm.
stuff, the like the funnier stuff, but they're like, oh, but I'm not going to
I'm not
share
going to
that
share
to
that on
my
my public
account.
thing where my
Right.
patients might see
And
it.
so it does become this like little thing. So anyways, who's your audience? Very important thing. And almost everyone here has done this, that answered that question many times when they're making a Facebook ad, picking out their logo, designing their clinic. Who's your audience is not, or your target market. It's not brain science. So, but you do need to go. Who is your audience for this course?
Yep. Next is choosing a topic. So this is kind of a combination of looking at your audience and where you have expertise and where you can actually help them. It's tricky because you need to find what's in your niche and what is palatable for them and what you have the bandwidth or ability to create content on. There's also a question here of, is that the next one too, of like how long form or short form it is?
Well, I think that when you're choosing a topic, no, I think the next question is very much its own. I think choosing a topic, it should be something you're super passionate about.
Mhm.
This seems really like meta, not Facebook, but like, when I talk about identity and like your identity is not as a chiropractor, it is, like God could use you if you had chosen not to be a chiropractor, right? So like it's great that I am a chiropractor, but my identity is not wrapped up in that. If I completely bust both of my wrists and can never give an adjustment again, like God is not like, well shit, you really sucked that one up, huh? Like I have a bigger purpose that chiropractic is wrapped into. And when we did create our third course, the one that really resonated the most with us, it felt like, I don't know how to sound not like cheesy,
Cheese it up.
but it felt like this is what my message is for chiropractor. Like
Mm.
this is what I'm here to help people with. Like this is what makes me unique. This is what I could sit down at a cocktail hour and like end up just talking for hours about.
And that's what we have done. Like I think that was part of the realizing was like, what do we actually talk to people about when we go to these conferences, when we're in a room with chiropractors? We have the conversations that we had that formed the multi-passionate chiropreneur with a lot of people, like digging into their business, digging into their personal life, like what is their purpose, what do they want, is it freedom, how can we give advice on how to get there. So that was a natural connection. One caveat I would give there is don't get caught up in thinking you can't make something and sell something
That's already being done.
until you find your
Oh,
like ultimate.
two separate.
Like
Yes. Yeah.
if you have a topic that you think, going back to like, do you have the time and energy for this? Like when we did the multi-passionate chiropreneur, that is so much time, so much effort, so much investment, but it was informed by previous courses, some where we made a bunch of mistakes. What
Okay,
did
I
you
just have to
do?
interrupt you. So I wanted to write down my note so I didn't forget to say something. And as I'm writing down on this seemingly scratched piece of paper, I'm going, this feels more like a photo. I'm just writing down like a random
It's
post-it note on the
tie-dye.
back of our child's
She's so
kindergarten photo. Why is
she's
this on
so
your desk?
because I like to look at her.
I
She's
mean,
so
but it
cute.
was face down. Anyways, keep going. I'll just keep writing my notes on the
No,
back of her
so
picture.
like the story of our most recent course, which we love and we're super passionate about, is informed by previous courses that were also things that Lauren was passionate about at the time and still continues to be. But we've learned the mistakes and like they were great. Like we learned, we made some money. But you don't have to like find your life's purpose before you create something. You can just go, this is something I'm interested in. It's something I'm passionate about. It doesn't have to be an overarching change people's entire lives. It can be helping them with a problem that you know more than they do about.
Okay, I have 3 follow-ups to that
Okay.
on the back of
Show
this
the
kid
picture of
photo.
Ty while you're reading.
Oh, she's so thinking cute. Okay. So, 1, as you're choosing your topic, it's helpful if you are solving a problem for your audience. Like that isn't already solved. Okay? So the reason that the most recent course for us really resonated was because I looked around and I saw chiropractors really struggling with this lack of freedom
Mhm.
that chiropractic provided, did not provide in their life. And it felt very personal to me. So make sure, is this something, yes, you're passionate about, but like, is this a problem for people? Point 2, don't worry if other people are doing this. I really got in my head so many times because I was like, I knew I was creating something unique, but a lot of times, so like, if you're creating a breastfeeding course, like, okay, listen, this is it's not
So
brand new.
someone's got one out there,
Someone's
or there's
got
a
one
million
out there.
YouTube videos that have a lot of similar content.
Yeah. So like you likely are not going to find something that no one has solved. Do not be afraid to create something you like that solves a problem that seemingly someone else is doing, but like
Mhm.
it's in your voice. It's through if your heart is on fire to talk about this, like, there's lots of things like within our profession, Tony Evil could go like, well, the ICPA's already got pediatric chiropractic covered, like,
Yeah.
there's for me, it was looking at Elise and going like, well, she's got chiro intensive. And like, yes, I know this is different, but like, her course talks about this and we're going to talk about a lot of very similar things at a certain point and it's packaged different. And like I literally would talk to Elise and be like, and she's like, you're going to package it different,
Yep.
people are going to receive it different, and people are at different places at different time. And so
And your
like,
audience is different too. So like
yeah,
even if there's something very similar out there, but your audience isn't getting that, or you have a different way of saying it, like you might be saying a very, very similar message to someone else, but they haven't heard it because they don't run in the exact same circles you do. And you're going to be the one to deliver the good message.
right. And so my third point, which is real quick, but this was a kind of a life changing back when Rachel Hollis was like,
Not canceled yet.
not canceled. I think she's kind of on canceled. Okay. So, anyways, back when she was at like her peak, she was on stage at an AB Porterfield conference that we were at, and she talked about you do not like when we throw around the term like, what are you an expert on? What topic are you an expert on? This is her words, not mine. You need to be 10% ahead of your audience on the topic. You need to be at least 10% farther down the road, further down the road,
Further.
further down the
That's a
road
figurative road.
than they are. If I waited until Kirby and I had $6 million in our bank accounts and 10 businesses, and I wasn't adjusting at all, and 6 clinics, and like whatever I thought, okay, now I can teach chiropractors how to create multiple streams of revenue, get more freedom in their life, blah, blah, blah. I think I create that course when I'm like 55. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
if that.
I
I
don't
mean,
know. I don't know if I'd ever feel expert enough. And the fact of the matter is like right now I'm in it and like I can, so
and with that, when I forget what it's called, it's a psychological thing that when you are as you gain more expertise in a field, you can also see all the nuance and
Mhm.
expertise that exists in that field. So when
Yes.
you're starting, you go like, that guy's an expert, then you learn and you're at the same level as that guy. But then once you are actually truly kind of in that expert field, you start to doubt yourself because you go, I know about the nervous system, but I also know about Dr. Mo. And so now I
Mhm.
feel like I know nothing about the nervous system.
Right.
And that's the fear that stops you, is you go, well, I'm not that expert, so I shouldn't be talking to anyone. And it's like, no, you know 1,000 times more than the people who have never taken any class. You're just comparing yourself to the absolute pinnacle of smartness.
Okay. So you're gonna be so mad at me. You can decide if after I tell this if you want Jacob to take it out, but I think it's worth noting.
Okay.
I had a dream the other day and I wanted to tell you, and I know that dreams are really boring for other people, but I'm going to break all the rules in my podcast. Okay. So I was going to be a guest on Oprah.
Okay.
Okay. And I was coming to talk about something like businessy, like very
Business ethics.
business ethics. No, it was like, I don't remember what the topic was, but it was not chiropractic at
Okay.
all. And this is a vulnerable moment with you guys. Okay. So I get there and I'm talking to the like show's producer, and she's like, she's got like this like big paper post-it thing. And she's like, so unfortunately, we can't have you talk on that because we had a guest that like rearranged and she talked on that. So these are the topics we have left that you could talk on. One of the topics was nervous system function. And I saw it, knew I could talk on it, but I didn't want to.
Ooh, that's an
I
interesting one to unpack.
know. I was like, in my dream, I was literally like, oh, you just did that. You should like, that's the one to
You're
unpack.
gonna have to hand in your chiropractor badge and
I
chiropractor gun.
know. I know. So I was just like, oh, wow. That was like a really weird, like, okay. So, anyways, I thought,
Yeah, I mean,
can we
I
let Jacob keep that in?
yes, of
Okay.
course,
Okay.
Jacob, leave it in.
I'll try not to get in the habit of sharing dreams because I know they're really boring for other people. But okay. So, anyways, choosing your topic, I think we've done great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Designing the type of course that you're going to do. So, this I think kind of goes, we'll say, with like another question, designing the type. And then question number 7, how much investment do you want? Like,
And it
it,
ties back to, do you have the time and energy?
yes.
Um, yeah, all of these are kind of a web versus a list, that it's not like one, then two. Like you might go like, you answer the question of how much time and energy you have, and you go like, not much. And then you are looking at your audience and you're picking your topic, and then you find like a seed of what type of course you want. And you go like, oh, it'd be amazing if, and now I'm on fire for this. That will inform like, okay, for that, I have more energy. Like if I was just thinking of it as like this fun little side project, but now that I've thought of exactly what it's going to be, I'm on fire. I have more energy. I have more, willingness to invest in that.
So, like, when we're talking about the type of course, I mean, like, so there are, like, you can just get on Zoom and talk. And there you go. You could package that up. You could do a Facebook group. You could jump to the other extreme and do like Kajabi, which is
And even within Kajabi, there's a ton. Is it, like watch a short video, take an assessment, self-guided? Is it a huge weekly calls with groups?
is it all written? Like,
Yeah.
is it more like an ebook that you're marketing as a course? Because the other thing is, it's like, not all courses need to be hundreds or thousands of dollars. You could market something as a course that's a $49,
Yeah. Little
you
quick
know,
thing. And
20-page hacks on blah, blah, blah.
mhm.
Like, so there's so many different ways that you can get your topic to your audience. And I would say start low, like start simple if you can.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of this, it all ties back to some of the previous questions too. So you base the type on who's your audience and what your topic is. So if it is something like lactation advice, that's probably not something that's purely written if it's for a layperson. Like there's got to at least be diagrams or videos or something to explain
Mhm.
physical things in the physical world. If it's about how to do better on your taxes or whatever, that might not need to be a face to camera video course. That might be slides and, diagrams and spreadsheets. And you don't actually need to have your face on camera. It doesn't need to be video at all. It can be a checklist or a workbook.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you could, a course is just kind of this big umbrella where it's like, well, it could be a workbook that is a course. Like, yeah. So then kind of that next question is like, depending on how much you want to invest in this. So question 7, how much investment do you want to put into this? Hey, She Slayers, I have partnered with Well Aligned and Above Down Apparel to give all of my listeners something really special. So listen up, don't skip. A free premium t-shirt. Okay, you get a free t-shirt. So just head over to wellaligned.com/she slays to claim your listener offer. That's all you got to do. Above Down has the coolest and most comfy chiropractic tees that showcase your personality. My favorite is the Mabel. I love it. They're super soft and a great conversation starter if you do seek conversation with, your patients. We call it table talk. What more can you ask for? So I've also been using well-aligned materials for years to educate my patients. They have high quality ROF folders, patient handouts, office forms, posters, and a ton more. So why recreate the wheel when there's a perfectly designed communication tool ready for you to help educate and inform? Head over to wellaligned.com/she slays to claim your free t-shirt. And I'll drop a link in the show notes so you can check it out. I'd like to take a moment to thank one of our primary sponsors of the podcast, Insight CLA. The Insight tech moves the message off the spine and into the nervous system, where the magic of the adjustments can be measured and tracked. Everyone from newborns to seniors are being scanned in my practice and in thousands of other practices like ours, so they can be examined and inspired to choose chiropractic care. It's like an instant referral machine because the scans are so visible and informative. Like, what patient wouldn't want to know how their nervous system is performing? The staff at CLA are ready to take care of you and answer any questions you may have. They also have an incredible online academy that can help train everyone in the office and help them to feel confident on how to get perfect scans and how to interpret the results. We have been using the Insight technology in our clinics for over 7 years now, and it is a complete game changer for conversion, retention, and patient education. Click the link below in the show notes as She Slays listeners get preferred pricing and hundreds of dollars off their purchase.
Did you just jump
No,
down
we're
to
gonna go back to
9?
it because it makes sense better. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're talking about the type of course you have, who's your audience, what's your topic, as you figure out like how it should be delivered, now we're going to start talking about like what platform and how are you going to deliver it on. So we've done Facebook groups, we've done, standalone PDFs that got, sold or whatever. As we started to get into like, okay, this is a series of training videos, like for the Reels one, or for the multi-passionate chiropreneur, it's a series of training videos with PDFs attached and homework for people to do and weekly meetings to attend. We needed something bigger and better. And kind of the leader in the field and the one that people usually turn to is Kajabi. There are other ones, but it kind of puts everything all together. But there's an investment there. I can't remember exactly what we pay, but I think it's like a couple $100 a month. And I think we only got that discount because we pay yearly. So yeah,
But like they now are going to be launching an app. So
Yep.
like if your topic would really benefit from having an app, like having all of that, can you piecemeal together your course? You absolutely can. But we ended up going with Kajabi because it's like, well, we could pay for MailChimp, we could pay for this, we could pay for that, we could pay for this app, we could,
Yeah, you could say like, I'm going to email you a link to a private YouTube video each week, and you're going to pay me through PayPal or Stripe and blah, blah, blah. But like, as you start to do those things, it kind of gets back to how much time and energy do you have?
Mm-hmm.
So if you can find a single platform that, hosts the video, sends the emails, collects the money, does the reminders so that you're not doing the week to week, like, okay, if it's a 5-week series thing, And if every week you're going like, oh crap, I almost forgot to send the email, I have to go get that scheduled out, that's where that time versus money investment comes. I think we can include a link of like our referral if you are interested in Kajabi. That I think saves people money, and then we get some money. So I'll figure that out. I'll put that in the show notes. If you're getting serious about courses and you want to see like what the platform can do, and obviously look at other ones, but we've had a good experience with them.
We started on Kajabi, went off Kajabi, and went back to Kajabi. Like, okay, yeah, you're the best.
Yeah.
So along with investment, it's kind of also this like, okay, this was a thought process of like also like cash flow too. So the idea, like at the Kajabi conference, I would hear, this is not a podcast sponsored by Kajabi.
But if you do want to sponsor us,
but Kajabi, if you're listening, you can sponsor us. So, and they would talk about how they had like pre-launch, they had spent like $10,000 on like ads pre-launch. And I was just like, holy cow, and then ended up bringing in 70,000, so like we, you, you start looking at, we didn't do any ads for ours, but when you start looking at the price point, let's say that your course is $500, is it worth it to spend $1,000 on targeted ads to make even 3 sales?
Yeah.
Like, yes, it is. Like, is so don't be afraid, but if you're like, oh no, I need this to be bare bones this first time, that's also okay. It is absolutely okay, because
and a lot of that ties back to do you have the trusted following? So if you have 200 emails of people who really trust you, but you have a $50 course, like as you go through the funnel of like, if you send out 200 emails, if you have a good email list, 100 of those will be opened. If you have a good email list of those 100, 20 to 40 might click. And then out of those, you're going to get 4 to 10 sales.
Yeah.
Like, and if that's all you have and you needed more out of it, now you go, okay, I don't have as big of a following as I wanted. Ads are going to get you access to people who you haven't earned yet.
And it's super sexy to like hear stories about like, on my first launch, I sold out. I like woke up to $70,000 in my bank account. Those are super sexy stories. Right. But like,
But
you can
again,
also kind of soft launch. Like you can also like, there's something to say about your first time and working out all of the kinks. We worked out a lot of kinks on our people, and even like small things. Like we had said, all right, the videos are going to release on Monday. The training videos will release on Monday. And then we will get together on either Thursday or Friday in your cohort to talk. And somebody was like, is there any way these videos could be released like Friday?
So we can watch them over the weekend when we actually have time. And we were like, oh yeah, that was really dumb. We were asking you to do more work during the work week and then also meet with us during the work week.
We're like, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. So like just working out those kinks. So like if your audience is something where you're like, I could sell 1,000 of these, on that day where it's live, what if the link doesn't work? Like, and you're like, oh shit, I have 1,000 people who just did that, so it's okay if you want the big, sexy, like thing, we're going to go hard at our initial launch. We're going to do this. It's also okay if you're like, you know what? I'm going to see like maybe 3 or 4 people will buy it, and let's just see how they go through it and what kind of kinks get worked out. And then the next time around, I'll relaunch bigger. Like that's also okay. So designing 7, gathering the data. So
yeah, the content for the course.
So you've decided what, oh my God. I think I might have a little PTSD from certain points of the course. So you have to understand that like there's so much work that goes into everything up until this point, right? Like if we have made it sound easy up until this point, we suck.
But I mean, this is for a big high ticket course that we did. So it could be easier than our PTSD experience, but like we did all the things big.
So then you're like, okay, you're literally laying out the content in the course. I am a huge fan of sticky notes. Okay. So this is not going to shock Kirby at all. I don't know. You can share what you would do. But like what I would say is you start with a bunch of sticky notes and they can be different colored if that resonates with you. And just start brain dumping. Just brain dumping. Oh,
Everything you know about.
you know what? You know how I know this is a good idea? Because Amy Porterfield recommends it for building courses. So
All right.
whatever non-paper idea you're going to come up with. Um, so you're just brain dumping. You're not even you're just like going. Set a timer, set a timer for like 15 minutes. Don't stop writing. Some of the stuff may be absolute crap. Some of the stuff may be basically the same thing as you wrote on a different sticky note. So then when your timer's done, then you kind of start sorting them into like, okay, so this is and so like some of these sticky notes might be like problems that your ideal person has, like things you want to solve, a topic you need to talk about. Like, so it might be like charting, moon things, like read this book, like just all anything that comes out of your brain in this dump.
Mhm.
So then you can start like just putting them into categories of like, okay, so all of this is around like tracking your cycle and resources and this and that. All of this is around nutrition. Like you'll start to see that your sticky notes will start to cluster. And then you can start laying out like, okay, what order do things need to come in? Some of the stuff, I mean, assuming a lot of this stuff you probably already talk about and you probably already know.
Mhm.
Some of the stuff you might have to buy some books and learn on. If you're like, oh, yeah, we can't really have a lactation course without talking about oral tethers. Well, how are you? Can you teach a little bit on oral tethers, or do you probably need to get a book, or like like get the book, read it, so you can throw information in there.
Yeah, and if you've been passionate about this and you've been posting about this, you may actually have so much of the content already created. You actually might have all of the content already created, and that can scare people of going like, "Well, I already gave this away for free on my Facebook videos or my Instagram videos." But a lot of times what people are paying for in a course is the synthesized information in an orderly package, and depending on
And
your
digestible.
digestible, and depending on your course type, it's also the accountability or the follow-up.
Yep.
So if it is like you're selling the lactation thing and it also includes a half-hour consultation or someone checking in saying like, did you read that book? Did you follow up on that? Did you go get that checked out? It's That's a lot of what people are paying for. And also they're paying for the fact that they've invested something now. So like they may have watched that video for a second and gone like, oh, that's a good idea. I should try that. But once they go, here's my $299. Now I've invested. It's the theory of like why you pay for a gym membership is because then you go like, well, now I have to work out. Otherwise that money's completely lost. So don't let the fear of going like, I've already said all of this. A lot of what's in the multi-passionate chiropreneur is stuff that we've said. But there is a lot more guidance. There's a lot more
Well,
step
and
by
a lot of
step,
it
and
in
there's a
it
lot of accountability.
is like books that like we've read where you could just go read those and this and that.
Yeah.
And like that condensed, use a different word too before digestible, but like it's laid out in a
Yeah. Like orderly
an
and
order, so the condensed, orderly, digestible pattern. That's not just our opinion. That is like experts
Mhm.
saying, like, this is okay. Yes, all of this information in your course is out there for free, whether you've given it to people or not. Like, you're not reinventing the wheel in this course of like this super secret thing that nobody has ever, like, you
Yeah.
can't find this anywhere on the internet or in a book. Probably not. Can't imagine.
No, that
So, and then if you do, you should
you should be
really,
like patenting that and
yeah.
like making some kind of invention.
So, it's okay that this is what people are paying for. And yes, there's a mental thing that goes along with I've invested in this. There is a transference of energy with the universe,
The universe?
the
You
universe
just turned
that
into a
happens.
Norwegian. The universe.
That happens when when you say I am investing, I am put like from the consumer aspect,
Mhm.
I am investing in this. You brought up the gym. That's one thing. Well, I don't have that equipment. Of course I need to pay for a gym. What about people who pay for like programs that are like a bigger butt in 10 days? you could absolutely go to YouTube and
Oh
TikTok
yeah,
and get that
all of those are.
information. But it is the accountability, it is the mental aspect of I put my credit card number in and risked credit card fraud for this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I almost bought like a stretching thing the other day because like you see the variety of things you can do. Like I have like lower back hip like mobility stuff. And so you see a million things on TikTok and YouTube and whatever. But like if someone goes, no, I have a program that you can follow for 28 days, and it's probably just all the same stretches
Mhm.
I've already seen, but they're telling me that 28 days from now, they're going to guide me through it and I don't have to sift through the entire internet of
And wonder
knowledge.
like, should I be doing this? Is this helpful?
Is
I
this a
think it's
good one? Is
helpful.
this one right for me?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So they want that certainty. They want that plan. They want it laid out. They want it digestible. So even if you've said it all, it's still okay. You still probably have a viable idea for a course.
Okay. Number 9, pricing.
Oh, this is a really tricky one for a lot of people, especially if it's their first one, because
Mhm.
they don't want to fail. If you're, especially if you're like Lauren, you don't want to fail. You don't want to
Not
have,
publicly
yeah,
anyways.
you don't want to have low sales numbers. You and I think the other thing that people do too is they go, well, I already know all this stuff and it's part of your DNA, so it doesn't seem as valuable as it is to the person who's actually going to be buying it.
Mhm.
And the other thing that people might go is like, oh, I'm an expert on this, so I made a series of 5-hour long videos, that I mostly knew all the stuff anyway, so that took me 10 hours with the editing and stuff. So like I should just kind of charge for my time, but they don't think about like what is the impact of the thing that they're selling. So like if you can change someone's life, or if you're giving them advice that will change the path of how they shape their finances and make their decisions, you may have a very high ticket course, and it's not just based on how much you worked. It's based on what value it will bring to that person's life.
Let's see, Brendan Richard talks about how if you're getting into this world, you want a $7 product, a
299 product or
there was like a $47 product.
yep.
I'm not giving you the exact numbers, but it's around here. So it's like, yep, you want like a $7 product, a 50-ish dollar product, and then a $300 product. And then if you want to do high ticket, that. So
Yeah, it's your
now,
1,000,
so
5,000,
those are
10,000
kind
dollar.
of like, yes, could you do multiple different options? Right. But from like the experts, that's going to be kind of you have 4 pricing options, like $7, $50, $300, or more than that.
Yeah. And the idea
So
there,
like that helped my brain
yeah,
just be like, okay, so it's probably more valuable than 7. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you right now, please don't make it 7. The $7 one is like
seven's
a
like
PDF.
yeah, like here's a 15-page ebook on this subject. And then the nice
Yes.
thing is,
That ChatGPT helped me write
yeah,
substantially a lot of.
don't stop yourself by going like, no, I need all of these, because the ideal is eventually you do have all of them.
Yeah,
So
we
that
don't have a
yeah, we don't have the 7, we don't have the 50, like we just have the course. But like the idea is you have the cheat sheet, the ebook, the whatever at 7, and then when they're going to check out, you go, if you're interested in this and you want to take it to the next level, there's a $300 course, or there's a $50 like hour long talk that we did on this subject. And when they're already interested, they go like, okay, I'll step it up to the next level. I'll get both of them, or maybe all 3, or everything, or I'll join the
yeah.
whole course. So
So again, I think that just don't just don't invest a ton of time and sell yourself too short.
and one of the other things that can happen too is you might work your absolute butt off and realize that the product that you're creating isn't so like we overproduced the Reels course that we did. So it took so long to make, and I don't think we could have priced it high enough to like get all the value back, and it wasn't.
Well, the thing, I don't know. I think that so we priced our Reels course at $37, and the idea was like 1,000 chiropractors could buy this.
Mhm.
Okay, because but people are super busy right now, so learning how to use Reels was an actual problem that
Mhm.
chiropractors like. So audience check, topic check, like Designing it, we went pretty intense because you have to demo a lot of like push here, do this. Like it included editing. Like it was, we chose that. We could have made it simpler. I
Hmm.
could have made a $37 Reels thing that should have taken 6 hours to make.
Instead, it took 36 hours
Oh
to
my
make.
God, maybe more.
Yeah, we did a
But
three
what
camera
happened?
shoot for everything.
So then the thing is like, let's say we would have priced it at 299. Somebody who's like, actually, I do need help with reels, they might look at a $37 thing and be like, that, what is that even going to solve? Like, that's so cheap. Is that like basically a chat GPT written thing?
That's true.
So there's a mentality that goes along with the price. If you go too cheap, people may assume it is literally not worth their time because you're not actually going to solve that problem for that cheap. It's just going to be like, meh. So like if you're solving a problem, if you're whipping out a camera and doing editing and things like this, I really encourage you to please go higher than $100, please. Like,
Yeah. Well, and knowing your audience too, and what your goal is. Like if you have a niche thing, if you are, just talking to female veterinary chiropractors and you go like, I want to make $25,000 on this, but I know my audience is,
tiny.
tiny, tiny, then you can't have a $40 product because you're going to need to sell it to everyone 5 times to get to your goal.
Right. So pricing is hard. You're going to struggle. Look to what other people are charging that are running similar courses successfully, and good luck.
Yeah.
All right, final question. Number 10 is, do you need help?
Which ties in again with how much time and energy do you have for this? What are you actually trying to build? How much are you willing to invest? And also like what is your expertise? So we were in the unique situation of like I usually can figure things out. So we did a lot of stuff on our own, but now we're getting to the point that we're realizing we do need more help. And even though we like launched the course ourselves and figured out Kajabi on the back end, there's some web stuff that I couldn't figure out because it's tricky to do what I wanted to do in Kajabi. So we hired someone on Fiverr to fix up the web page. We had Morgan as an assistant on the background, managing all the emails and getting people together. Like it, and if you don't have some of the tech experience or the email experience or whatever that we have, you might need someone to kind of steer you through this entire progress or like the whole process. I like Fiverr. We did Upworks was a big help as well. So like one of those like basically gig things, you find someone, and there are people who are. So if you are going like Kajabi or for example or whatever other platform,
Those people can get
find
very expensive.
they can. But if you're willing to deal with a little bit of a language barrier, or if it's just a back end tech problem, there are a lot of people across the world who are experts in it. A lot of people in India, a lot of people in Nigeria, a lot of people in the Philippines know that this is a market that they can help people get their course properly formatted and scheduled out and all of that stuff. They may not be able to help you write copy, but they can help you with the back end and they can build websites.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that the nature is to want to keep every dollar that you have, but like you might be able to create a better product and sell more of it
Hmm.
with help. It's just all it is. It's just that final question that only you really know based on how much time and energy do you have? How much investment is like do you want to do? Like you can do this all by yourself.
Hmm.
Maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe you can't.
And
You
an
don't know anything about it. I could not have done this all by myself without Kirby. Kirby and I could have done this all by ourselves. Would it have been messier? Would it have taken more time?
so
And
much more time.
yes. But like I could not have. I literally would not have been able to do
Yeah,
this
you would have
without
had
a
a
Kirby.
year of learning all the tech stuff and design stuff on the way. And one thing that we did is we got creative with how we asked for help and how we paid for help. So there was Upwork stuff to deal with certain things on the website, but we also needed someone who would communicate with all of our people. And so that was Morgan, who had worked for us before, and she got a percentage of sales. So like we didn't have upfront investment, but we ended up paying a lot because the sales went really well. Would I structure that the exact same way next year? Maybe not. But like that's the thing of depending on what you're willing to invest now. If you have someone who you know is a go-getter or who knows your product or who knows your message, they might be the person to help you. And you might go, well, I don't have this much money to pay you right now, but you're going to come on the ride with me. I win, you win.
Yep. That's everything I got. I think we did a banging
Yeah.
episode.
And then I would say for extra resources, like Amy Porterfield talks about courses all the time. She is an
Yes.
expert. Like if this sparked you and you go like, oh, I'm going to start going down this rabbit hole, like Amy Porterfield's amazing. Brendan Bouchard talks about a lot of like self-improvement stuff, but he also talks about how to market and do courses. I'm trying to think of who else do you go to?
Not me.
Just listen to just DM Lauryn all your
This is
questions.
me.
She'll walk you through all of it.
Oh no, I think you named. I don't even remember. Like I guess it was Amy Porterfield and Brendan Bouchard. Those were the big ones. So there you go. I hope it was super helpful. I hope that spend time with these questions and let us know if you need any help. All right. Until next week, She Slayers. Bye.
Bye.